The flash is brighter than the sun. The shockwave slams every window on your street. And the power goes out before you even realize what happened. What you do in the next 5 minutes will decide whether you see the sunrise tomorrow. As we speak, Washington has paused shipments of key air defense missiles to Kyiv to conserve dwindling U.S. stockpiles, even while Russian forces push toward a summer ground offensive and Ukrainian drones strike deeper inside Russia than ever before. At the same time, intelligence confirms that Iran recently loaded naval mines onto fast boats, signaling real intent to threaten the Strait of Hormuz after Israel's latest precision strikes on Iranian territory. On the home front, the Department of Energy issued an emergency order last week to keep the Southeast grid online during an extreme heat wave, underscoring how fragile our own infrastructure can be. Put bluntly, the global chessboard is shifting under our feet. Supply lines are stretched, rival powers are probing red lines, and critical systems at home are already under stress. That makes personal readiness, especially for low-probability, high-impact events like a nuclear strike or an EMP, less of a prepper fantasy and more of a civic responsibility. Welcome to Safety Zone. I'm glad you're here because today we're tackling one of the hardest truths of modern life. In the first 72 hours after a nuclear detonation on U.S. soil, you and your family will either stabilize your situation or slide into chaos. The difference isn't luck, it's mindset. Preparation isn't paranoia, it's a disciplined, sustainable habit that quietly strengthens your freedom to act when seconds count. Our goal tonight is not fear but clarity. Understand the threat, adopt a calm, methodical posture, and execute a plan that fits real life, real budgets, and real households. Picture the clock at T0 plus 0. The moment the blast hits, everything changes in an instant. You're close enough to feel the pressure wave rattle your bones, to see the flash burn the horizon white, but far enough that survival is not only possible, it's in your hands. And in that first second, instinct must be replaced by action. Drop and cover. This isn't Cold War nostalgia, this is physics. Lie flat on the ground, face down, hands over the base of your skull, elbows tucked tight, keep your mouth open. That simple act helps equalize pressure across your eardrums, reducing the chance of rupture. Why feet toward the blast? Because flying debris is coming, and your legs are more expendable than your face. The shock wave moves faster than sound, blasting out windows, hurling objects, flipping cars. Expect the worst for a full minute. Stay down. Only once the rumble has passed and debris stops falling should you move. And when you do, don't panic, think. Shelter is your lifeline now. Every second spent in the open adds invisible risk. Radiation doesn't glow, it doesn't smell, but it's falling with the ash and dust around you, and it's lethal. Get inside. The thicker the walls and the deeper you are underground, the better. Parking structures of reinforced concrete offer layers of shielding. Deep basements in commercial buildings are ideal. Even a windowless room in the center of your home beats being outside. If that's all you have, fortify it. Stack books, water containers, bricks, soil bags, whatever you've got, against the walls, especially the ones facing the blast zone. Think in terms of halving thicknesses. Every layer cuts radiation by half. 10 layers reduce exposure to a fraction of a percent. A single foot of packed earth or masonry might not sound like much, but it's the difference between temporary sickness and long-term damage, or worse. Most people assume running is the answer, but unless you're already pre-packed, with a go bag on your back and a clear path upwind, moving now is a gamble you're unlikely to win. Fallout begins dropping within 15 to 20 minutes, and if you're caught out in it, you're absorbing more than your body can handle. If you can't guarantee a clean escape within 30 minutes, don't. Lock in. The myth is mobility. The truth is survival begins with stillness, strategy, and smart shelter. As you hunker down, the enemy is no longer fire or shock. It's something far more insidious. Radiation. Silent, odorless, invisible. It doesn't knock or roar or flash, it simply saturates the air and settles like dust, and if you don't understand it, it can kill just as surely as the blast itself. Fallout begins falling within 15 to 20 minutes after detonation, carried by the mushroom cloud and wind currents. It's not just ash, it's microscopic particles of radioactive material laced with isotopes like cesium-137, strontium-90, and iodine-131. These particles cling to clothing, lodge in your lungs, contaminate food and water, and attack your body at the cellular level. That's why your first mission in those precious minutes is to seal yourself off as completely as possible and wait. Not for hours, for days. A hand crank or battery-powered radio becomes your single thread to the outside world. Store it wrapped in foil or inside a sealed metal box, a makeshift Faraday cage, to protect it from EMP damage. Information is survival. The FEMA rule of sevens is simple, but vital. Radiation decays logarithmically. After 7 hours, the dose rate is 10% of what it was. After 49 hours, just 1%. This is your window. You are not waiting in fear. You are outlasting the danger with discipline. Equip your kit with a basic dosimeter or personal radiation detector. They're not just for labs, they're your eyes in the dark. If you don't have one, prepare as though levels are high, especially in the first 24 hours. Potassium iodide tablets are your next line of defense, but only against one specific threat: radioactive iodine. When taken properly, they flood your thyroid with stable iodine, preventing uptake of I-131, one of the most harmful isotopes released in a nuclear event. Timing is critical. The dose is 130 milligrams for adults, once every 24 hours, ideally within an hour of exposure and no more than a few days in a row. But this isn't a vitamin. Don't take it preemptively. Use only if advised by emergency officials or if your downwind from a known blast and fallout is likely. For children and infants, dosing is entirely different and must be followed carefully. Never guess. Label the bottle, store it securely, and educate every adult in your household on when and how to use it. Prepping is not just about owning gear, it's about knowing exactly when to use it. That knowledge is what makes you a survivor, not just a collector. Water becomes critical by hour 12, not just for hydration, but for temperature regulation, organ function, digestion, and morale. You can go without food for days, but without water, your judgment falters, your energy crashes, and panic creeps in. Under normal conditions, an adult needs about 3 quarts per day. But post-blast, with adrenaline pumping, elevated heart rates, possible heat exposure, and contaminated environments, that need can easily double. Aim for 3 gallons per person, minimum, just for the first 72 hours. That's not luxury. That's baseline survival. Store it in BPA-free jugs or stackable containers, clearly labeled, away from sunlight and chemicals. Rotate every 6 months. For purification, keep unscented household bleach on hand, 6% sodium hypochlorite. It's cheap, stable, and effective. 8 drops per gallon of clear water. Shake it. Let it sit for 30 minutes. If it smells faintly of chlorine, it's drinkable. No smell? Add 4 more drops and wait again. But if your only option is to gather water after fallout, caution becomes critical. Never collect rainwater or surface runoff in the first few hours after detonation. It will be heavily contaminated. Wait until after the peak fallout period has passed. Use cloth, old shirts, bandanas, even paper towels to cover containers and catch larger particles before they ever touch the water. Then filter. A portable hiking filter is best, but even multiple layers of coffee filters or a DIY sand and charcoal setup are better than nothing. Whatever you do, don't boil fallout-contaminated water as your first step. Yes, boiling kills bacteria, but it concentrates radioactive particles, making things worse. First filter, then disinfect cold. Store some electrolyte packets or powdered sports drinks, not for taste, but because acute radiation sickness often causes vomiting, diarrhea, and dangerous fluid loss. Replenishing salts, potassium, and glucose can buy you critical hours of functional strength. And don't underestimate organization in a crisis. Designate one container, mark it with red tape or spray paint, as your gray water bucket. That's for washing hands, flushing toilets, rinsing gear. Label it clearly and never mix it with drinking water. In high-stress situations, simple mistakes like drinking from the wrong jug can become fatal. Water isn't just a supply item, it's your daily rhythm in survival. Plan for it, protect it, and treat every drop like currency. Food security in those first 72 hours isn't about comfort, it's about function. Your goal is to keep your body fueled, your mind sharp, and your stress levels in check. Think calories, not cuisine. You're not planning a meal, you're sustaining metabolic fire. Aim for a minimum of 2,000 calories per adult per day, but don't just grab random snack packs or sugary junk. Build a stash that's dense, compact, and efficient. Shelf-stable tortillas are gold, versatile, low on salt, and pack flat. Add vacuum-packed tuna or chicken for protein that doesn't need heat or water. Peanut butter is calorie-dense and long-lasting. Just a few spoonfuls can stabilize blood sugar and suppress panic. High-fiber granola or meal replacement bars keep your digestive system regular when your routine is anything but. And don't forget a daily multivitamin. It helps offset the nutritional gaps that come with emergency eating. Mark every item's expiration date with a fat-tipped Sharpie, front and center. Rotate out old items twice a year. Treat it like clockwork. This isn't just storage, it's a living inventory. And skip the salty snacks. They'll spike your thirst and drain your water reserves faster than you think. If your power's out, use the fridge strategically. Eat fresh items first. Then the freezer. Foods there will stay safe for up to 48 hours if unopened. Only after that do you tap into canned and dry goods. A manual can opener is not a luxury, it's mission critical. Without it, those neatly stacked cans might as well be bricks. For families with infants, pre-stock powdered formula and ready-to-feed aseptic cartons. In a crisis, you can't trust that you'll have access to clean, warm water for mixing. The aseptic packs are more expensive, but in a blackout with radioactive dust outside, they're the safer bet. And if you have pets, their needs aren't optional. Set aside a separate bin with dry kibble stored in Mylar bags, sealed with oxygen absorbers to extend shelf life and prevent mold. Hungry, stressed pets might go for your emergency food. Don't let desperation blur boundaries. Include a bowl, leash, and small toys to calm them. In the chaos of a disaster, the smallest familiar comforts can make a huge difference for them and for you. Your emergency pantry isn't a bunker kitchen. It's fuel, function, and foresight. Nothing more, nothing less. Medical readiness is where most households fall short, not because people don't care, but because they underestimate what an emergency really demands. A proper kit isn't just a box of Band-Aids. It's a layered system, built to handle everything from a scraped knee to a life-threatening trauma. Start with Tier 1, everyday first aid. Antiseptic wipes, antibiotic ointment, adhesive bandages, burn cream, tweezers, eye wash, and gloves. Add antidiarrheals, rehydration salts, and antihistamines, because even minor issues become serious when help is hours or days away. But Tier 2 is where real preparedness begins. Trauma gear. Think battlefield, not camping trip. You need a cat tourniquet, not a knockoff, stored loosely, ready to deploy one-handed. You need compressed gauze and pressure dressings for arterial bleeds. Add a pair of vented chest seals because a punctured lung won't wait. Know how to use these before you need them. Take a stop the bleed course. Watch real medical demonstrations. Practice under pressure. Your hands are your most important tool, but only if trained. Now, prescriptions. Most people only ever have a 30-day supply on hand, and in a grid-down event, pharmacies don't restock. Talk to your doctor honestly. Explain that you're building a preparedness reserve and ask for an emergency backup. Store a 7-day minimum in a waterproof pouch, with each dose sealed in individual blister packs. Drop in a small silica gel packet to absorb humidity, especially if you're sheltering in a damp basement. And if you rely on insulin or temperature-sensitive meds, work with your endocrinologist to get vials or pens approved for room temperature storage. Some formulas remain viable for up to 28 days without refrigeration. Store them inside an insulated lunch bag, wrapped in a towel in the coolest part of your shelter. Don't forget painkillers, acetaminophen, and ibuprofen, and rotate them yearly. Stress and pain will be constant companions in a nuclear aftermath. Treating them early keeps you functional. But physical health is only half the picture. Mental clarity is your edge in chaos. That's why you need structure. Create a printed, waterproof micro-routine. A single-page guide you and your family follow every day. Keep it simple. Wake up time, hydration check, radio update, light movement, 20 push-ups, 10 squats. End with 10 deep breaths. This is about more than discipline, it's psychological triage. In high-stress environments, the brain clings to routine like a lifeline. For children especially, it's stabilizing. They mirror your emotional tone. If you look lost, they panic. But if they see you focused, checking off small tasks, staying calm, they follow your lead. Your job is to be the emotional center of gravity. A crisis doesn't wait for calm to arrive. You bring it with you. Communication and power are your last lifelines, not for luxury, but for intel, coordination, and the morale that comes from not feeling cut off. When everything else fails, the ability to receive information or send a message can mean the difference between staying safe and walking into danger. A compact 20-watt solar panel is more than enough to keep your essentials alive, even in the murky daylight that follows a nuclear event. Ash in the air dims light, but photons still penetrate. Drape the panel inside a clean window, angled to catch the arc of the sun. Don't place it outside unless absolutely necessary. Fallout settles fast, and fine particulate can destroy sensitive ports and panels. If your shelter lacks good light access, use mirrors or even a salvaged car sunshade to bounce light toward the panel. It's crude, but it works. Now, power storage. A lithium jump starter isn't just for your car, it's your off-grid battery bank. Many have USB-C fast charging, LED floodlights, and enough juice to run emergency gear for days. Charge it before disaster strikes, test it monthly, and store it in a dry, padded container to protect the ports from shock or moisture. Pair it with a low-draw, high-efficiency LED lantern that can run all night on a single charge. You need light for more than visibility. In total darkness, your brain starts to spiral. Light brings focus. It helps maintain hygiene, prevents injury, and keeps morale from cratering. Don't skimp on batteries. Rechargeables are ideal, but if you go alkaline, cycle them regularly. Buy quality. No-name batteries corrode faster than you think, and a leaking cell can ruin your flashlight or radio when you need it most. For communications, think in layers. A basic NOAA weather radio with same alerts gives you official updates even when cell towers go down. Crank-powered or solar-charged models are ideal, and some include USB out-to-charge phones. Keep it wrapped in aluminum foil inside a sealed plastic bag, your budget Faraday cage, to give it a fighting chance against EMP. For peer-to-peer contact, invest in at least 2 GMRS or MURS band radios. Learn the range, test them in your area, and pre-label channels with tape. One for family, one for neighbors, one for emergency scan. Clarity matters more than complexity. If you're coordinating multiple households, assign call signs in advance. Alpha 1 is easier to hear under stress than Uncle Dave. Printed, laminated contact sheets are essential. Phones fail, memory fails, but a waterproof card in your pocket or go bag doesn't. Include local emergency numbers, hospitals, shelters, and at least one out-of-state contact. After major disasters, long-distance calls often go through when local lines are overloaded. Pick someone who can act as a relay, someone calm, available, and outside the blast radius. Make sure every adult in your household has a copy. In an age of digital dependence, hard copies are your analog backup. If you've ever felt uneasy when your phone hits 1%, imagine 72 hours with no signal, no news, and no light. That's not just inconvenience, that's vulnerability. Prepping your communication and power setup isn't just about staying connected. It's about staying informed, keeping your people close, and projecting calm authority in a world gone silent. If the first 72 hours are about survival, the weeks that follow are about resilience, and resilience isn't built alone. Once the immediate threat has passed, it's not just about having food or water left. It's about re-establishing order, routines, and cooperation in a fractured world. The communities that bounce back fastest aren't necessarily the best equipped, they're the best connected. Because in the aftermath, it's not your flashlight or freeze-dried meals that keep society moving. It's trust, coordination, and shared purpose. Start now. Map out who in your neighborhood has medical training, who knows how to fix engines, who owns a chainsaw, who has livestock. These aren't just facts, they're assets in the post-crisis economy. Get to know them now, not later. Host a preparedness meetup. Keep it low-key. Talk about storm readiness or grid resilience. Don't lead with mushroom clouds. Build rapport. Offer help. Ask questions. Because when communications are down and official aid is days away, it's those informal networks that become lifelines. And this isn't just feel-good idealism, it's pragmatic survival. You might be the only one in your circle who knows how to properly disinfect a rain barrel or test water with a chlorine comparator. You might be the only one with a backup radio or the ability to identify early signs of radiation sickness. Share those skills in advance. Run a drill. Teach kids how to operate walkie-talkies, turn off the main water valve, or signal for help. Confidence grows from repetition. Meanwhile, keep honing your own edge. Learn to field dress a wound. Try a weekend off-grid with no power or running water. See what breaks down first. That feedback is gold. The global landscape won't stabilize overnight. With U.S. deterrence strained across multiple fronts, proxy conflicts heating up, and cyber disruptions becoming a weekly norm, we're entering an era where self-reliance and mutual aid aren't fringe, they're foundational. But here's the quiet truth history teaches again and again. When formal systems falter, it's the steady hands, the prepared minds, and the neighbor who knocks on your door with an extra can of soup who rebuild faster, stronger, and smarter. Your calm readiness today sets the tone for everyone around you. It's not about fear, it's about leadership. And in the new normal that follows any major crisis, leadership starts exactly where you are, at home, among your people, quietly turning survival into stability. If this breakdown helped you feel more capable, hit that like button and subscribe to Safety Zone. Every week we turn headlines into actionable readiness, minus the hype. Stay alert, stay grounded, and I'll see you in the next briefing.